Here we go again. Another road to WrestleMania where we have more questions than answers. But the question on everybody's mind, especially mine here today, is The Rock hurting WWE's creative plans? What's going on, pro wrestling fans? My name is Ramos Jr. Welcome back to another video. And if you're joining us here on today's video, then you already know about The Rock's appearance in New Orleans, Louisiana for tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. If you're watching this video, maybe it already happened. Maybe it already took place, and we know what the clear path is for WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, Nevada. But regardless, we're heading into tonight, a monumental episode of SmackDown, because whenever The Rock is appearing on WWE TV, you know it's must see. The Rock, the gravity of Dwayne Johnson heading into the WWE, has always held a great level of significance. Ever since he left for Hollywood, came back to the WWE, left for Hollywood, came back, left for Hollywood. It's a never-ending cycle. But as we've seen in recent memory, is that something that could be damaging WWE's creative in the long run? One of the earliest instances of this taking place was back in 2013. CM Punk, having the ride of his life, 434 days as champion, would have to drop the title to The Rock as they would prepare for twice in a lifetime Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania 29. It could be argued that that event helped move forward CM Punk's level of disdain towards the company, towards pro wrestling at that point, and causing him to walk out. The Rock versus Cena was seen as a main attraction, but we had just seen it the year prior, and it was advertised as once in a lifetime. So to go twofold, some people were a little bit turned off by that. But then you fast forward a decade later, WrestleMania 40, the rise of Cody Rhodes. He suffers a huge loss at WrestleMania 39 against the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns, and people are invested. People want to see the story finally be finished, and Cody Rhodes wasn't able to do so on account of Solo Sikoa, who had interfered during that matchup. And now he wins the Royal Rumble, and it appears that Cody Rhodes is finally going to finish the story, doing what his brother and his father could not do, and that was win the WWE Championship. And then we get this weird segment on SmackDown where The Rock comes out and is talking, and it's alluded to that Cody Rhodes is no longer going to be challenging for the title. He talks to Roman Reigns and says, I won the Royal Rumble. I've earned a shot at your championship, but not at WrestleMania. I remember watching that live and just being so confused. What are we doing? He just won the Rumble. He wants to beat Roman. He wants to avenge the loss that he suffered a year prior, but all of a sudden he's giving it away, seemingly to The Rock? It makes no sense, and you could see the body language of Cody Rhodes, and he wasn't a fan of it either. So then we begin the whole "We Want Cody" movement, and Cody goes on to win the title at WrestleMania 41. But the original plan was going to have The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Now, again, that would be a huge matchup. It would be a phenomenal attraction, quite the spectacle. One of the greatest stars of all time versus one of the greatest stars of today and potentially of all time as well. It's a story that writes itself, and it's by no means is it the wrong move. 110% it is the right move to have Roman versus Rock, but it's always timing. It's always timing. It could have happened at WrestleMania 39, but the Rock scheduling didn't match up, had to nix it. Then they want to go WrestleMania 40, but that wasn't what the fans wanted. We became so invested in Cody Rhodes. We wanted to see him win. So then they nixed the Rock idea, and they go with Cody. And now we lead into WrestleMania 41, nearly a year after WrestleMania 40. And after Cody wins the championship, he has this segment on Monday Night Raw talking with The Rock. And The Rock makes it quite clear that he's coming for Cody Rhodes. You took the championship away from my family, basically dishonoring my family. I'm not going to let that slide. And The Rock pulls in Cody Rhodes and he whispers something to him. And he hands something to Cody Rhodes, something we still don't know the answer to. And that was all the way back in April of 2024. We don't know what it was. Will it ever be addressed? Hopefully soon. Hopefully on this episode of SmackDown. Who knows? Then we move forward and we don't see The Rock for quite some time until finally he makes this huge unannounced return at the Bad Blood event, the very same event where Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, rivals turned into partners. Rock makes an appearance and he looks at Jimmy Uso. He looks at Roman Reigns. He looks at Cody Rhodes. giving them the countdown of 3, 2, 1, and then a slash at the throat, and then fade to black. No explanation. So we don't know what was in his hand that he handed to Cody. We don't know what was said to Cody. We don't know why he was there at Bad Blood, but it's okay. We're going to let them cook. We're going to let it build and build and build until finally we hit a crescendo that will lead us to WrestleMania 41. But before we get there, a monumental event in Raw, the debut on Netflix. The Rock is going to make an appearance. Surely he has time. It's in Los Angeles. Hollywood, of course he's going to be there, right? And he is there. He opens up the show. Except it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real whatsoever. It's not The Rock. It's not the final boss. This is Dwayne Johnson, member of the TKO board, hyping up Monday Night Raw, hyping up professional wrestling, the deal with Netflix. We see him giving a shout out to Cody Rhodes, sharing a drink in the background, not referencing the last year of WWE programming. And that's fine. If you were going to utilize him as a way to open up the show to attract more attention and put over the product, totally fine. He is the perfect individual to do that, but it's a missed opportunity to build on the feud, on the story that has already been unraveling. At the very least, answer some of the questions that we've had for months on end, but they don't do that. So now we're thinking Royal Rumble. Surely the Royal Rumble, because all signs have, been pointing to a potential Cody Rhodes versus Rock matchup. Does he appear at the Rumble? No, he doesn't. And we still don't know. We still have no answers. Now we're getting rumblings of his schedule, now preventing him from showing at WrestleMania. There were posts back in the fall of people saying that The Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania. He even went out of his way to comment on these posts and said, "Don't believe the BS you read on the internet." So are you confirming you will be at WrestleMania? And if so, in what capacity? Because at this point, we don't know still. Will it be in a match? Will it be in someone's corner? Or will it just be the guest host? Because at this point, that's what it's sounding like. So now people are giving up. We've just recently heard that he will now be in the next Martin Scorsese film. Congrats to Dwayne. But everyone's hope in him appearing at WrestleMania 41 has certainly dwindled. And then we get word that in New Orleans, Louisiana, Friday Night SmackDown, The Rock makes his return. I think it's very clear he's going to announce that WrestleMania 42 will be in New Orleans, which, by the way, that's already the third time in the last, 16 years? Congrats to them. The Rock will be there to announce the location of WrestleMania 42, I assure you. But then Triple H releases a statement and says along the lines of that The Rock's going to be there, and in a moment, everything can change. Very vague. I've been talking about this extensively on the channel, where this build-up to WrestleMania 41 is so difficult to predict. A lot of times we already have the matches in mind. We can see the wheels turning on where we're going with the event, where we're going with the main events. And it's still like there's still so many moving parts for every individual story. I asked the question at the top of this video, is The Rock hurting WWE's creative? I don't mean in the sense of the star power, because Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a Mount Rushmore wrestler. He's one of the greatest of all time. But his schedule, the ability to commit to the time in a way has affected multiple storylines on end. You want to be able to have all the stories mapped out by the time we get to this point in the year. And it feels like sometimes, yes, there is still a concrete idea of where we're going to go, but there's so much fluidity that I feel like they've left themselves a little bit open-ended because of The Rock. And it's an issue. It's really an issue. It can become a bigger issue because we have to certainly develop that sense of consistency. We have to have that sense of dedication to the story. Otherwise, everything's just going to get unraveled, and we might end up with an event that will not live up to expectations. Because once you had a show like WrestleMania 39, followed by WrestleMania 40, two of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, not only commercially, but also in terms of fan praise. WrestleMania 41 has a lot to look up to. And whether it has The Rock or not, it's probably going to be looked at as a lesser than event than its two predecessors. Is The Rock hurting creative? I think unintentionally. I don't think that's his intention. But because of the ins and outs of his appearances and the lack of consistency in the stories and the portrayal of the final boss, we need to see something big here on this episode of SmackDown. Regardless, I'm looking forward to it. I would love to hear from all of you in the J area. Make sure you comment down below your predictions or your hopes for WrestleMania 41. If you haven't liked the video already, please feel free to go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy pro wrestling as much as I do, and consider becoming a Main Event Mafia member where you're going to get exclusive content unlike anybody else. With all that being said, my name is Ramos Jr. Thank you for joining me in today's video, and let's see what happens tonight on Friday Night SmackDown.